GM, GA, GE. What is going on, Miss Linda? How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on the space.
Of course. Thank you so much for making the time. I know you're a busy lady. I'm doing all right. This is Cup of Joe. Apologies for the slight delay. I was getting all our pinned tweets up on the Jumbotron. A couple quick announcements to share, and then we're going to go ahead and dive into our conversation of the day. This is Cup of Joe with W3JOE. We are here every Wednesday, every Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, or excuse me, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Doing our best to fill this next 30 minutes or so with as much value as possible. We do so by bringing on leaders in the space who know a thing or two about getting hired and succeeding in their roles. So today we're very honored and excited to have Linda, Miss Lynn Dow here with us. She's the host of Chop It Hot, the co-host of State of the Trenches. She's a comedian, which I'd love to hear more about. And she's a growth advisor. So she wears a lot of hats in this space. Linda, how are you doing today? Happy Friday.
I'm doing well. That was quite the introduction. Thank you. Happy Friday.
Of course, yeah, I did my best. We can go ahead. Oh, real quickly before we get started, we do have the space pinned up top. Any likes, any retweets, always appreciated. To our friends listening on Spotify and YouTube, we appreciate you tapping in. We are live on Twitter again every Wednesday and Friday at this time. We also have some events going on around Korea Blockchain Week, Token 2049, which is pinned up top as well. We'd love to see you there. And now, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. Linda, I would love to get the conversation started by asking you, in your own words, who you are, what you do, and how you got started doing it.
Hi everyone. My name's Linda, and I help companies grow. I first started off in crypto about, I think, 5 years ago professionally now, and I was working at a company called Mask Network, and then I pivoted to just being a growth advisor and supporting different projects. Right now, I work for a company called OptFund. We're an options trading platform on Hyperliquid. And yeah, I'm helping them grow. I'm helping with all the socials and just getting more eyes on the platform.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know you were with Opt Fund. I'm a big fan of Hyperliquid, so congratulations to you. Congratulations to them. Uh,
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I've found their Twitter, so I'll go ahead and pin something up so people can check that out. And you said you're helping them with what, Linda?
Growth.
Okay, amazing. Uh, can you tell us a little bit about like how you pivoted into working in Web3?
Yeah, of course. Honestly, I'm going to be honest, it was sort of random. I used to be a tech consultant. I was working at the Big Four, and I was in Miami during the crypto boom, and everyone was making money. It was like so insane. People would put in like $20 here and they'd wake up a millionaire the next day. And I was like, I want to get involved in this crypto stuff. So I was networking and I was meeting a lot of people, and I went to a conference. Some One of my friends was going to a conference. I went to a conference and I got hired on the spot, and that's how my crypto journey began. One thing that I have to say about crypto, though, it's a learning experience. I'm learning something new every single day. I wouldn't say I was really acclimated into crypto till maybe 2.5 years in.
You know,
So,
your story, at least in some senses, is one that we do actually hear often. I've heard many times just on these spaces that we do, where people say, getting into Web3 was something that was I kind of fell into it. It kind of came to me almost.
oh
And then you're
yeah,
go ahead.
sorry, no.
No, yeah, and then your note or your comment about getting hired at a conference is so real as well. Like I think so much of being successful in crypto is like being genuine, authentically good at what you do, and then being as usual, which is just true everywhere, at the right place at the right time, right? Uh, how important is it? I know you said you kind of fell into it, but from your experiences, how important is it for people to be visible in order to create opportunities for themselves in crypto, whether that be here on X, in IRL events, or other platforms, or any other ways?
I think it's very important. In my opinion, it was it wasn't about visibility before. Before, I think it was crypto was a much smaller community, and it was about the tech and the people you interacted with in those communities. But it's getting larger and larger every year, and the competition is increasing every year as well. So you have to make sure that you're putting your best self forward and making people see what you bring to the table. So I think it didn't matter before, but now it's almost everything.
Yeah, I agree with you. We tend to get mixed responses on that one. I think it depends on like what you do in the space, what your niche is, and it matters differently for different people, and also how you use it. But I think in general, you got to be somewhere. You got to be visible somewhere. So people got to know who you are, what you do, and that you do it well. So,
Right.
whatever tools that you can use to leverage that and to maximize that, the better it is for you. Uh, my next question is, what advice do you have for people listening who are looking to break into Web3 work?
So I I think in Web3, a lot of people who've already been in this space have this mindset that you have to earn it. I feel like you can't just like you can't just like get in here and just get a job, right? You have to earn it. Even in group chats, when you're joining trading groups, people are really sensitive about their group chats. You have to bring some type of value, or people will have to feel that you've earned it to be included. So that's one advice that I can give to people. Make sure you're contributing in some way.
Yeah, I like that. Be ready to earn it, right? And
Yep.
also come into it being having done what you needed to do to be confident that you've done what you needed to do to earn it, right? Don't show up and be like, okay, now I'm going to go to work. Because
Yeah,
oftentimes
exactly.
there's going to be people already who have been putting in the work. So
Exactly.
you'll learn. You'll learn soon. And speaking of learning, I wanted to jump. That's what I was going to jump to earlier. You mentioned that in Web3 you're learning every day, which I love. It's been my experience as well, especially like with this rise and revolution of AI that we're experiencing right now. I think it's such an incredible time to be alive, but also just working in the space that gets to work so closely alongside AI. So, like, can you give us a few examples of like things that you're most excited about right now that you've been able to dive into and learn more about?
Options trading. It sounds biased for me to say that because I work for an options trading platform, but yeah, options trading. I know perps have been really big right now with hyperliquid, but I think there's also a market for options, and I'm really excited about that.
Okay, cool. So this is a good opportunity. You could tell us a little bit about OptFun, and because I don't know much about it, I didn't know that options were coming or maybe already live on Hyperliquid. So what can you tell us about OptFun?
Right. So Opfun is an options trading platform, and you can trade up to 1,000x leverage. And what makes it fun and interesting is that it's gamified. So your options expire every minute.
that's that's very crypto. Okay, your options
Yeah,
expire.
it's very crypto. It's super degen. Um, if you haven't tried it, you're so early. I can't say much about token stuff, but um, yeah, check it out.
Heard you loud and clear. You definitely cannot say anything about token stuff. We wouldn't dare ask you about any kind of token stuff. Don't even think about coming up here and asking about any kind of token stuff. But we
Exactly.
seriously love to support you and love to support Opt Fun as well. So rooting for you and what you guys are building over there. Um, what are some ways to make sure that you're successful when it's time to interview? You've gotten the attention, you've proven what you need to prove to at least have a conversation, and now it's time to have that conversation. What are some ways to prepare? What are some ways to make sure you're successful during that interview?
So it depends on the product, but I think what's really important is, one, you have to use the product. You have to know what you're talking about. And two, talking to the users of the product and asking them for feedback. That really helped me in a lot of my interviews. Just diving into their communities and having conversations with people who've been using the product way longer than I have.
Wow, I think that might be an answer we haven't gotten on this show yet. This is episode 12. We're still somewhat early, but we've still had a number of we're in double digits, and I don't think I've heard that one yet. We've heard obviously study the company, get familiar with the product, the service, whatever it is, but to actually dive into the users, I think is a really special piece of insight. It immediately clicked in my head. It's like you're going to go into the interview knowing literally what they want to know, which is the pain points of their users and how
Yep.
they can improve it. And that's where you come in. That's really like it's one of those pieces of advice that's like super intuitive. It makes obvious sense, but I don't know. Once you hear it, it's like, oh, duh. Amazing. Okay, and now you crushed the interview because you listened to Miss Linda's advice, and now you have an offer on the table. What are some ways, or what's some advice you can offer in terms of negotiation? Because that's a part that a lot of people forget or skip or just don't feel even ready to have that conversation.
So every time I get an offer, I don't just it's not just me looking at it. I also have a conversation with the recruiter, like, hey, do you think this makes sense? And I don't just talk to one recruiter. I talk to a couple to make sure it makes sense because obviously the recruiter who got me the job is probably more biased for me to accept the role. And then I talk to someone who I feel like is much smarter than me, in making that decision. And if the offer isn't, sometimes like you'll get equity and then you'll get a salary. Sometimes the salary isn't as high as you want it, but the equity is still pretty good. Make sure it's a company that you believe in before you accept. I one rule that I have is to make sure that one, you believe in the company. Two, if the base salary isn't as good, there's like some kind of upside, and you believe that that upside will happen, because obviously a lot of companies, if they are startups, can go to zero. And two, something you're comfortable with, because I don't know, I feel like if you're working at a place and you feel like you're underpaid, you're gonna be unhappy. You're not gonna be as motivated um, to work, and it'll just be an all around bad experience for everyone, and also can tarnish your reputation because you just won't be delivering at your full potential because you're not happy with your salary and your livelihood. So it's super important to make sure that you're accepting something that makes sense for you.
Yeah, that's a really good and practical way to put it. I think if you frame it that way in your head, where it's like, dude, okay, you've got to pay bills, right? Okay, you got to pay bills. So then beyond bills, like there are certain things that you like to do that make you happy, things that you have to take care of. Take care of those things, and it's like if you don't prioritize those things and make sure that you are walking away with a deal that takes care of your needs, an appropriate amount of wants that you guys can both agree on, then you're going to be unhappy and you're not going to do the job that you need to do. And that's not good for anybody. So, I know me myself, sometimes it can be like, oh, don't be greedy, right? Never be greedy, but that also comes
Right.
with like understanding what you need and what you want and what you don't need and what you don't want. But don't cut yourself short, right? Is the punchline. Um, Beautiful. We are about halfway through. We'll be going for another 10 minutes or so. Are there any differences worth knowing when it comes to getting hired in Web3 and even working in Web3 compared to getting hired and working in Web2 that people should be aware of?
Um, hmm. To be honest, every job that I've gotten an offer to, the interviews were pretty easy because I knew what I was talking about. So I think that's I think I think it's probably the same for both. You just have to know where you have to know what you're talking about.
Well said. Yeah, that's for sure. Keep it simple. If you know what you're talking about, you should be okay in any room you're in. Right? Well
Yeah.
said. We try to do a theme of the week every week, touching on different specific points in the hiring process, in the actual job process. And this week we're talking portfolios. We can talk resume slash portfolio building. So, what, in your opinion, Linda, makes a good portfolio? Do you have a portfolio, by the way? I know you said
Yes.
some people don't because they just get referred to all the jobs or they're recruiting, but you do have one.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Can you tell us a little bit about like what you were considering when making yours and like what in general are some
I
do's and
think
don'ts?
I think metrics. People just want to see numbers. That's the most important thing. They don't care about anything else. Like how did you take this company from A to B? What was the percentage growth? How did you do it? Yeah. So make sure like you quantify your portfolio and show off your numbers. Never be modest when it comes to that.
Well said. Is there anything else people should consider including, or should they just focus everything on the numbers?
To be honest, I think the numbers is the most important. I mean, it depends, right? It depends if you're a designer, of course, like show off like your designs and stuff. But yeah, and like for someone who does growth, do you speak at events? That's probably also good to show. What communities are you involved in, um, etc. I think those are. I think it really depends on like what role you're going for, but yeah.
And then in general, and maybe this is too specific of a question to answer for most people, but like how long should a portfolio be? Because I know a resume. My general rule of thumb for a resume is like one page. I think a resume should be one page. People have different ideas, but like, is there any rule of thumb or idea that you have when it comes to portfolios?
I think one page is also good.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I think you need like three or four key things that you've really worked on that have succeeded. I think that's enough.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, one page I was surprised to hear for sure. It feels kind of short. I don't have a portfolio, I only have a resume. But when I see resumes that are longer than a page, I do kind of just don't love it just because that's just how I was taught. Everybody's different. But to hear you say that a portfolio should be one, I'm with you. Attention spans are getting shorter by the
So
day.
short, so
It's an
short.
epidemic, and I'm part of the problem. So that's why I know I'm like these long, things are not always getting reviewed, and sometimes it can make the things that you really want to stand out not as prominent, right, as you'd like them
Yeah.
to be. Let's
Yeah,
see.
I remember working on a I think it was like a 16-page deck. Like it took me 3 weeks to work on this thing. And I sent it around and No one. People barely looked at it. Like I was begging them to like look at everything. No one. People were not looking at it. It was and it was really really good. Once I sat down and did the presentation, people were like, "Wow, this was great." I'm like, "Yeah, you guys didn't look at it." So that's why I think keep things as short as possible. No matter how good it is, the attention span is short. Just keep it small.
That's a really that's a really memorable story. I'm not gonna forget that one. That's funny. 16 pages. I'm sure you worked so hard. I'm sure it was amazing.
I worked so hard on it.
I'm sure it was amazing, and it's not your fault. It's the people's fault. It's this generation's fault. I blame the Zoom.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I'm kidding. But we're getting to the final minutes of our conversation. Linda, you've been amazing. You shared nothing but really awesome insights as expected. I'll ask you, I guess, one final question, which is going to be, it's going to sound a little redundant and it might cover stuff we've already covered, but like off the top of your head, under 30 seconds for people listening, what final advice do you have for listeners hoping to land a full-time role in Web3?
Make sure you are applying for a job that you actually like. I've fully accepted that I'm a degenerate, so I'm only going for degenerate jobs. Make sure when you go for jobs that you like, it feels natural, you know what you're talking about. It doesn't feel like work. And in Web3, you can get paid for almost anything. There's jobs in like you can create a job for yourself if you wanted to. So make sure you're doing that. Don't go for something you hate.
Oh man, well said. I really could not have said it better myself. I always say, whatever you're already doing, it's needed in Web3. So bring it here. Linda, thank you so much. You're amazing. Thank you, everybody listening. When Lan, Stargate, Davin, anybody listening recording, anybody listening on Spotify or YouTube, we appreciate you. Linda, one more time, any final thoughts before we close out the show?
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Really appreciate you for hosting this. And happy Friday. I hope everyone here has a great weekend. And I hope your bags grow to infinity.
To infinity and beyond. Make sure you're following Linda. If you're listening right now, that's at Lin Dao, LIN underscore DAO underscore, and she's at Opt Fun. That's at Opt OPT underscore FUN. Linda, thank you again. We hope to have you back soon enough. Until then, we appreciate you. We appreciate everyone listening. We're rooting for you, and we will see you soon.